Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Brooks, and I'm the CEO of Zixi, and we're joined today by Mike McCrackan, who's the SVP of Engineering and Ops at Music Choice. Welcome, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Gordon.
We're going to talk about the journey Music Choice took to move from satellite to IP, and we'll do that after we do just a quick intro refresher on Zixi. I do want to point out that we do have Q&A at the end, and there's a Q&A tab on your screen that you can ask your questions in advance, and we'll get to them at the end. And if we can't get to them all, we'll have your email address and we will answer you directly. With that, let me talk a little bit about Zixi. So Zixi is a software-defined video platform. We're a software company, and we're used by traditional broadcasters. We're used by OTT broadcast services, service companies. We're used by companies that do gaming, betting, things like EA and folks like that do very interesting things. We're even being used for some interesting use cases around holograms. And we're used to source, manage, and distribute live events and 24/7 live linear channels. And we do that over any IP network. That's the internet, that is 4G, 5G, which we're doing a lot of lately. Fiber, low orbit satellite, anything that has that is IP oriented. We do it with any protocol. So we have 17 supported protocols. We're best known for the Zixi protocol, which we believe is the best out there, but we support really anything that has any traction in the market so that we future-proof your solution. We're integrated with the major cloud providers, but we can run on any cloud, and we do run on almost every cloud out there. And we support any edge device. We have over 240 partners that have Zixi built into their edge devices and software platforms. But if it's not Zixi and it's another protocol, again, we support that. So we have about 100,000 instances of Zixi distributed in over 100 countries. We have 700 plus media customers, like I said, 250 technology partners. And we're collecting about 3 billion telemetry data points a day for our AI and ML and advanced analytics intelligent data platform. And then that's providing unmatched global network where you can go really anywhere to anywhere. So what is a software-defined video platform? Well, it's made up of 4 components. So you have transport. So we talked about the Zixi protocol and the 16 other protocols that we support. You've got what we call the video solution stack, which is our media gateway. And these are the essential tools that allow you to process and do things like hitless failover, which is a patented technology we have, or transcoding, or a number of different services. Typically, what you need 10 or 12 different disparate systems to do is all done in this one integrated platform. We have the intelligent data platform, which is our video AI ops. So we're doing advanced analytics and ML and AI. And I think Music Choice might show you a little bit of that later in the presentation. And then we have Zen Master, which is our control plane, which is how we abstract the complexity away from these large, complex terrestrial delivery platforms so that you can not only monitor at scale, but you manage and orchestrate your environment. And Nyan will show you that from Music Choice a little later. These are some of the customers that we have. Obviously, Music Choice is on here. Obviously, we could not fit 750 on here, but just gives you an idea of the types of companies that are working with Zixi. These are some of the technology partners that we have. Everything from the major cloud providers to playout services, to encoders, to IRD manufacturers, to editing software, things like that. And leading into our discussion with Music Choice, this is a streaming media study that was done in the fall of 2020, so not that long ago. And it was very interesting. Of all the people who responded, 56% of the companies surveyed indicated that the internet was the primary IP network in their connectivity plan for video transport over the next 24 months. And then 65% of the video streaming infrastructure will be software defined versus hardware defined over the next 24 months. And this is pretty consistent with what we're seeing with our customers, is the move to a much more software defined cloud-based infrastructure and using IP networks for contribution and distribution. Okay. And with that, I will turn it over to Mike. And Mike, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Music Choice.
Yeah, sure, certainly. First of all, Gordon, thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to participate in this webinar. We built a pretty strong relationship over the last year or so, and really happy to share our experience utilizing Zixi, the technology that's being offered, and how we're really leveraging that. So Music Choice is a company that's been in operation for almost 35 years, providing music services to the cable industry within the US. We curate and program over 100 audio and video channels for our customer base. We provide video on demand services and a variety of subscription services over traditional linear broadcast, IP streaming, and cloud-based infrastructures for the cable industry, including OTT applications and mobile applications. So we have a variety of products and services that we offer our customer base. We have almost 200 MVPDs that we service in the US, including Comcast, Charter, Cox, DirecTV, Verizon, and many, many, many others. And we're accessible in over 54 million homes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so maybe I could ask you a few questions, if you don't mind, and that might spur some questions from the audience as well. So what started you on this journey to terrestrial delivery of your channels?
Well, we've utilized C-band satellite services for over 32 years, and it's been a very solid platform for us, and it was used to deliver our core music services to our customers. And it was the primary way we were delivering services to our customer base. Our MPTS signal is unique. It's low bit rate, it's high efficiency, and it encapsulates all the channels that we provide to our customers. And although satellite services work very well to deliver our national feed, for us, we were limited by bandwidth capacity and not really being able to take advantage of offering targeted streams to specific customers. And if we were to do that, it would have cost us much more to deliver those streams. So given the advancements in technology, we've been monitoring this for quite some time. We were looking for alternative ways to deliver our signal, and Zixi was one of those that came to mind, and we entered into the partnership and had some really good success for us.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean the stream. A lot of people, I think, would probably think, oh, well, it's music and some video, and that's probably pretty easy. But the fact that you have so many channels and you have a low bit rate, that actually, if you drop a packet, it's actually more impactful than if you had a high bit rate stream, right?
Yes, no, absolutely. And because it's an audio-based service, you can see the service running behind me. It's basically a still frame that rotates every so often, and audio is playing consistently commercial free. But when you drop a packet with an audio service, because it's extremely low bit rate, you're going to hear that audio drop. And from a service standpoint, that's detrimental for us. So that was one of the important criterias for us, is to make sure that we were getting a service that was on par with traditional satellite.
Excellent. So as you were planning this, what benefits did you think you'd be getting out of the move from satellite to the internet?
Yeah, we actually have a number of benefits that came with this transition. As I mentioned before, we were constrained by the satellite bandwidth. We could have certainly extended that bandwidth, but it would have cost us. We had an interest in extending services, let's say increasing the number of channels, increasing the bit rate, increasing the resolution, the quality level that we're providing, all of which would have required more bandwidth for the satellite. And then with that, you know, there's setup time, and then there's numerous downstream impact for equipment to set up that satellite feed. With Zixi, it was rather easy. You know, it is rather easy to set up a new stream and, you know, change the profile of the content that we're providing and direct that stream to a particular customer. So that was a benefit to us. By transitioning off a satellite, it costs us about 1/4 the cost to operate. So there's a big cost savings there. Again, from our perspective, we're able to generate unique content to MVPDs. So we have particular MVPDs that we might do targeted marketing or messaging. We couldn't do that with a national feed. You know, the national feed would hit every single MVPD. With the Zixi solution, we're able to target specific MVPDs and message them accordingly. We have better access and control of our service. We can actually see the network traffic. We can determine if a particular IRD at a MVPD head end is having trouble or disconnected. And we can take corrective action even prior to the MVPD noticing that there is an issue. Let's see, what else can I think about? For us, we were able to leverage the equipment that we already had deployed in the field. So it's not as if we had to replace all that equipment, which again would have been a capital expense for us. We were able to take our harmonic IRDs and with a simple firmware upgrade, enable a Zixi SDK that enabled that device to take the signal. So with over 190 target devices in the field, it was a lot easier for us to kind of manage our infrastructure at scale. We have a number of MVPDs that we target directly, and we have relationships with transporters. A transporter is a company that would actually take our feed and then disperse that to a number of different MVPDs. So it's giving us a lot of flexibility in monitoring and services that we provide, and you know, it gives us a little bit of an alternative way to monetize our service.
Excellent. Any benefits you didn't anticipate?
You know, that's a really good question. We spent quite a bit of time taking a look at Zixi and thinking about all the different ways that we could use the technology. I think one that comes to mind is a feature set that Zixi's working on. You've got some AI work that you're doing that helps anticipate potential network problems. We're not fully up to speed with that particular capability, but that was certainly one that comes to mind when I think about that question. Maybe Gordon, you can tell us a little bit more about the AI work that you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. So we have something we call the Intelligent Data Platform for Advanced Analytics. So it's advanced analytics, ML, and AI work. We're actually having a webinar on that tomorrow at 11 a.m. if anybody wants to get more information. But you know, we have 5 models. We have 2 classifier models predicting outages and drop packets. So we're trying to predict within 2 hours if you're going to have a particular outage or a drop packet. And then we have 3 different anomaly detection models that are looking for anomalies. And we take all that together, and we'll show you the information individually, but then we'll take it all together and we do a health score on a source, and then we'll do it on a target as well. That allows you to look at the health of your particular streams, and then also predict whether or not you're going to have issues so that you can take care of it before the problem happens. I think Nye might do a quick drive-by on that when he does the demo, but yeah, we're doing a whole webinar on that tomorrow.
Yeah, I know that capability was enabled on our ZenMaster application, so just haven't done a deeper dive on that just yet.
Yep. Good. So when you kind of started to think about this, what timeline were you working on when you started the journey and then ended the journey?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, we had a satellite contract that was coming up for renewal, and we ended up thinking about working with Zixi on a proof of concept, and the proof of concept would allow us to get a better understanding of the system solution being offered, and to help flush out any unforeseen issues that we couldn't think through. So we ran content on from numerous sources to a number of different target devices. And when we made the transition to go ahead with Zixi, we actually proceeded to notify our MVPD customer base so that they could provide a generic internet connection to the IRD. As I mentioned, we deployed a small software upgrade for the Harmonic IRDs that enabled the Zixi SDK. And then we worked with each of the MVPDs pretty much one by one, going through the transition. After the POC, start to finish, I would say it took us probably about 4 months or so to do that full transition and then turn down the satellite feed. But frankly, it was more of an exercise of really good project management, as the technical hurdles were small. We just had to talk with the MVPDs about getting a generic internet connection to the IRD, and everything else was pretty much seamless from that point in time for the MVPD.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What options other than Zixi did you consider?
Well, we actually took a look at a number of different variables and options, right? We were looking at the equipment that we had out in the field. We were trying to determine whether or not we wanted to replace that equipment, which we were certainly willing to do. And we were also looking at the features and the service level that we wanted to achieve. We did take a look at SRT as a solution. We also took a look at a few proprietary solutions to determine, if they would meet our criteria. But in the end, we decided to select Zixi, primarily because not just the technology that you were offering, but sort of an end-to-end system solution as well. Service and support was important to us. Building that relationship and partnership with Zixi was important, and that kind of encapsulated the whole experience.
Excellent. So, so if you think about your end customers, do you think they're getting any benefit out of this move? Is this more for Music Choice's benefit, or your customers getting in users?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Our customers are definitely getting a benefit from it. Like I said, the transition was rather seamless for them. And from the standpoint of Music Choice providing targeted messaging to an MVPD, that gives us and the MVPD as our partner an opportunity to message their subscribers, direct them to alternative services, let them know of other features and functions that are available or events that are occurring. So yeah, there's a benefit there to create some more stickiness for their subscriber base.
Oh, excellent. So what's next? You kind of nailed this one.
Excuse me?
You nailed this one. What's next?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, using Zixi to distribute our channels, we've been able to extend our services to the MVPDs, as I mentioned. For most of our customers, we deliver a national feed. And again, we have now this ability to deliver custom feeds. We can target messaging. And again, this was not a capability we could do on the satellite without quite a bit of additional cost. So, we can offer alternative channels, pop-up channels, higher quality streams. We can expand our products and services, all pretty much at a minimal cost. It doesn't take us very much to actually add additional channels to the platform that we have. And, I'm very interested in this AI work that Zixi is doing as well. I think that'll help us to provide, the best service and support that we can provide our customer base.
Excellent. So I hate to put you on the spot, but I've got to ask, any trends out there in the market that you're seeing that you want to share with the audience?
Well, let's see. I've worked in various companies in the media and the technology field throughout my whole career. And like you, I'm old enough to remember the internet being born. So, we've been monitoring advancements in technology to support reliable broadcast quality content over IP for many, many years. And really Zixi does have a very solid solution. We've been quite happy with it. You know, the flexibility of the solution allows programmers like us to, offer alternative services and ways to monetize, those services. And there are additional capabilities on the horizon that Zixi is offering, which, I'm very much looking forward to. So we've been really pleased with the service to date, and looking forward to expanding that partnership and capabilities.
So no, thank you so much, Mike. We'll stick around and take some questions at the end, and please put the questions in the Q&A tab. And we'll turn it over to Curtis and Nyan, and they'll show you a little bit about what Music Choice is doing and how they use Zixi. And please turn on your cameras and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, my name is Nyan Seth. I'm a Senior System Integration Manager at Music Choice. And we're going to talk about how I configure the Zixi end-to-end system, and how I'm using it on a day-to-day basis for troubleshooting any kind of field issue. I'm going to turn it over to Curtis for talk about Gen Master UI. Let me share my screen first.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Curtis Riley. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect with Zixi. I just wanted to give a quick overview of ZenMaster as a whole before I hand off to Nyan, who will kind of dive into the aspects of ZenMaster that he typically deals with on a day-to-day basis. So ZenMaster is a cloud-based software as a service control plane that enables the remote orchestration, management, monitoring, analytics, reporting, and also automation of the entire Zixi software-defined video platform. So ZenMaster is a highly available, secure environment that we host as Zixi, and we provide our customers their own DNS to log in and manage their workflows. So this allows customers to manage all of their resources and workflows in one place, while viewing real-time and also historical data on all the pieces within their ZenMaster environment. So as Gordon mentioned, Zixi software supports 17 different protocols. We have over 250 different technology partners within the Zixi-enabled network. And this just allows our customers to manage many different types of workflows within our software stack. So within ZenMaster, you can, as a customer, create different users and user groups that can have privileges ranging from admins that see everything to simple viewers of different workflows. So this allows you to basically easily limit, what users can and cannot manage with what we call access tags within our system. So as Nyan's showing here, this is our dashboard. This is our landing page for ZenMaster. So this allows you to quickly see all the physical and logical pieces of your environment in a quick glance. So you can see, quick things such as any open issues and recent events that are happening in real time. So with that, I will kind of hand it off to Nyan. He'll kind of walk you through, the different pieces of ZenMaster that he uses and looks at daily for his video delivery.
Sure. So I'm going to briefly talk about how my system end-to-end is configured, and then we're going to talk about how I use it to troubleshoot issue. So looking at the broadcaster end, we have two locations where we generate our stream or transport stream, and which, as you can see, the first two broadcaster we have is on-prem, which is our location. And the next sets of two broadcaster we have is in the cloud. So basically, from our encoder, we publish stream to our broadcaster, and the broadcaster, on-prem broadcaster, publish stream to cloud broadcaster. All right, so looking into one of our on-prem broadcaster, the ZenMaster system basically monitor the basic health of all the broadcasters. So CPU, memory, what version you are running it, and also on the bottom screen where you have anything going on the particular broadcaster. Is it and of any kind of critical alert or warning sign, you can filter it out, all your messages, and figure it out if anything wrong with your on-prem system. On a cloud broadcaster where we have 6 per location, we have basically 2 different locations. One data center is in New York, another data center is in Salt Lake City. Target is basically end user and user receiver at the MBPD end. They come and they pull the stream from one of the cloud broadcasts. They don't come to Music Choice on-prem broadcaster. One of the key feature on controlling your broadcaster is it doesn't require you to log into your network, or it doesn't require you to be on a VPN. You can access your on-prem broadcaster from anywhere from the Gen Master. So just show you the quick access that you can just open it and launch your UI. Actually, I have it, and you can control it how, which source, which input, which output you wanna enable, disable, anything. So that's the beauty about Gen Master, that you have everything in one place to control. Then we're gonna talk. So one of the things I wanna talk about is you will see the number of streams going into each broadcaster and number of streams being shared by each broadcaster. So it's basically what's coming into the broadcaster and which target or which receivers are pulling the stream from each broadcaster. The next thing I want to talk about is a source. Source is basically our transport stream, which is, as Mike and Gordon talk about, we have a MPTS. Each transport stream carry 53 channel. So we have a customized transport stream. As you can see on my source is I have a stream specific for the Comcast, I have a stream specific for the Cox, and then we have a national stream which goes out to the rest of the MVPDs. From this screen, you basically get the clear view about whether you have any kind of a priority 1 or priority 2 error on your. This does the TR101 analysis, your bitrate analysis, plus the uptime. One of the things Gordon talked about is data intelligence, where you can see the health score. This basically is coming from their recently launched data intelligence platform, and we are just learning about how this thing will help us to minimize if any kind of issue going on in the, or predictable issue going on in the field. So going into the source, I'm gonna select one of the source, which is the Comcast. That's the one I'm using. If you go into deeper detail, it will tell you about your TR101 analysis. If you have any kind of sync issue, PAT issue, discontinuity, PCR, anything is is reported in this particular screen. And also on the history, you have 2 graphs. One is the health of the stream, and also the content analysis. Since we have like a 53 channel, you can see everything here. That's all your data feed, audio feed, video feed, and also the network stuff. That if you have any kind of outages going on, it will be recorded here, so you can figure it out if something wrong. Like yesterday, I had a problem. I was playing around with my stream, and let me see if I can show it to you about. So, is it not that one? I have one of the stream, but right here. So you can expand the window and figure it out. Okay, this was basically I was doing the maintenance yesterday, and you can clearly define that, okay, there is a problem I had at around 4:20 p.m. yesterday, and look that data to figure out what's going on. And at the bottom, it will tell you exactly types of message or types of alert I had. So you can look into the particular error messages. 3:45 p.m. yesterday, I had a continuity error on one of the source. I had a black video. So this was, I was doing the maintenance on that. So that's the reason is detected here. So it helped me out to troubleshoot the issue. So we have, so I'm going to go back to the number of sources. We have two types of source. One is basically a single source. Another one we have is a hit list source. So you can combine two sources into a one. So particularly for music choice hit list source, I have two sources combined into one. So if some by reason my primary source goes down, Zixi system will automatically pick it up and goes to the backup source or the secondary source. Is vice versa, right? So this is the source we use it to link all our target, most of our target using the hit list source. So they have like a primary and a backup kind of concept. So if one goes down, system will automatically go into the backup mode or primary backup to primary mode. And as Mike talked about that, we have a number of sources dedicated for, I mean, it's a target base or for our messaging purpose, which we could not do it on a satellite. We could not, because it requires bandwidth, even though we use lower bandwidth, but it's still a bandwidth for each MBPD, right? Let me go back to this. So we covered that. So the next thing is a channel. Channel is nothing but a link to the source. So we have is basic, most of our channel is a pass-through. So each channel is linked to a source. If you look the first one, like a Cox HTTP, is linked to the source called Cox HTTP, blah, blah, blah. And looking into this source, the channel is assigned to the target. Target is, in our case, we have a 99% of our MBPD is using harmonic receiver. We do have a few sites using a Zixi receiver. But particularly for this case, we have like this particular receiver is in Cox, Cox Lab, Cox production system is using broadcaster, which is this a cloud broadcaster. And from this is basically you can figure it out is using the cloud broadcaster is linked to the source called Cox HTTP and it's coming from Horsem DR on-prem system. So if you are looking for some kind of troubleshooting to figure it out, what's going on, why this source is giving me problem or why broadcaster is giving you problem, you can come into here and figure it out how target is linked to which broadcaster. And also
Yeah.
on the bottom.
Oh, I was just going to mention, Nyan, on that, these diagrams that we see here for the channels, and we also have them on the target side. These all are, all are happening in real time. So these are getting updated. So it does make it easy to do, root cause analysis on any portion of the workflow to see, where the issue actually lies. So if it's on the target side, we'll see that light up on these diagrams and also in the event logs.
Right. So yeah, so the next thing, the target is basically, as I say, is receivers, harmonic receiver, Zixi receiver, any kind of receiver. So looking into our, this is our live system. I'm just gonna, so we can use different tags to filter it out. Let's say if you have a problem with, I'm just gonna pick a Comcast system. This is the way I define all my targets. And looking into my Comcast target. So those are the receiver Comcast is using. And I'm just going to use my lab receiver for the time being because I don't want to play around with the live system. You can go into the target and figure it out. Okay, this particular target is using the broadcaster, cloud broadcaster NYC3, and that broadcaster is linked to the source COMDR1, and that source is coming from on-prem broadcaster or some DR1. So you have a end-to-end workflow here. And if this particular target is giving you problem, you can figure it out what's going on, right? There are a couple of diagrams here. Is a network diagram. Another one is a packet delivery diagram, where if you're dropping package, you can basically narrow it down why and what time frame you drop the packet or anything. And On the bottom, you always have a timestamp, right? This is just basically high-level view about the data or transport stream delivered to the targets. And the bottom is basically give you all the detail about error warning or any kind of critical issue with this. So for this, I mean, you can select any target where you have any problem, select the flow, figure it out what's going on. So it's really helping me out a lot. Another thing which I normally use it on day-to-day basis is I'm going to go back to the source one more time. And let's see if if you're not on a network, you just want to figure it out what's going on my source. And if somebody's complaining that I'm not able to play a channel. So Zixi has a built-in VLC with a Zixi plugin. You can click the VLC player and play your source. I'm not going to play it, but you can play it and verify whether your source is really running or not before targets report that I'm not able to play this channel. At least you can verify that your source is clean coming from your on-prem broadcaster, the Zixi broadcaster, right? That's I use a lot to verify for my source issue. The next thing I use it also is a log activity log that here you can filter it out. Let's say if somebody reported a problem, you don't know what's going on happen. Actually, you can use any object for time being. I'm gonna use it. But yesterday I was doing maintenance around 4 o'clock. So I can select that particular area like a 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. yesterday. And looking for like what kind of error I have. So you can filter it, right? And then if you don't know whether it's a source issue, I just select object as any. You can select object as a source, apply a filter, or object as a channel. If there is a channel issue, you can figure it out whether you have a problem with your target, whether you have a problem with your channel, whether you have a problem with your source, or whether you have a problem with the network, right? So anything, this is pretty helpful for me to figure it out if anything going on my entire end-to-end system. And I think that's about. Anything else, Curtis, you think should be?
No, that was a good walkthrough. Appreciate that, Nayan.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen, Nayan, and maybe you guys can talk through the workflow diagram.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I wanted to point out that we have a rather redundant, highly reliable system that we designed with the help from the Zixi team. And the diagram that I think Gordon is going to bring up will kind of illustrate the architecture that we have. But we have a number of, sources that we pull from. We have separate diverse networks out of our facility. We have multiple data centers that we're using with Zixi. And then the IRD also has multiple input sources. So if we happen to lose one, as Nayan described, the system automatically flips. The other thing that we have as well is we have a recorded stream up in the cloud that if worse comes to worse, we could always use that as sort of a tertiary stream. But yeah, I'll let Nayan kind of talk to this as well.
Yeah, so what Mike says is, so we basically have two different paths. One is going into a crown castle circuit. We have another fiber going into the XO circuit. So one goes to the NYC cluster, another one goes to SLC, which is the Salt Lake City cluster. And then receiver side, on a harmonic side, they also have a cold spare port. So basically one port is linked to NYC cluster, and the second port is linked to SLC cluster. So in the event of any kind of fiber problem on one area, the harmonic receiver will automatically flip to the backup port and start picking up the stream from that end. So it's a built-in redundancy into Zixi end and also on the receiver end. So for right now, we are doing like each receiver can flip between 4 different inputs. On satellite, we couldn't do that. We only had either one or another, right? So this is another add-on advantage for us for having 4 different sources going into the receiver, and receiver just handle it.
Great. Thanks, guys. That was excellent. Stick around if you don't mind. We'll see what questions. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. John said, majorly cool to do a firmware update to utilize existing decoders. Yeah. Question for you, Mike. What was the hardest part about the transition to IP, and what was the easiest?
What was the hardest part in the transition and what was the easiest? Okay. So in all honesty, I would have to say the hardest part of the transitioning was the project management aspect of it from the perspective of communicating with the MVPDs. Because we happen to have almost 200 MVPDs that we deal with in the United States, we had to communicate with all of them and give them some guidance in terms of what needed to be done and approximate timing of the transition. So it was really a logistical thing from the standpoint of difficulty. The technology is not difficult at all. Once you get your arms around it, it's a rather straightforward transition. And as I mentioned, you know, all the MVPD needed to do is provide a internet connection for us. We happen to have a relatively low bit rate, so our 53 channels actually fits within a 20 megabit per second pipe. So it's not as if we needed a lot of bandwidth either. So again, I think the hardest part was just the logistics aspects of things as opposed to any technology. The ZenMaster application is also very, very capable, very flexible. As you saw, there's a lot of data there. Once you get familiar with it, it's rather simple to kind of navigate and identify, you know, what you need to look at to maintain your system.
Excellent. Okay, here's a question for you again, Mike. Who pays for the internet connection? Was there any resistance from the MVPDs to connect to the IRDs, and what type of connections? Fixed, IP, other?
Okay, so that's another good question. So for us, with the relationships that we have with our MVPDs and the structure we have with them, the MVPD was actually the one that was paying for the internet connection. Again, it varied from MVPD to MVPD. We did not get really any resistance at all in terms of providing that internet connection. You know, we were only looking for 20 megabits. So sometimes we're on a shared internet connection network. Sometimes it's dedicated. It really depends upon who you're talking with, but we didn't get any significant resistance at all. I mean, we might have had one or two that were asking us questions, but that seemed to be pretty seamless for us. And we work with them when necessary to help configure their switch or their firewall, because many of the MVPDs, right, have security concerns, and we did not run up with you know, much resistance there as well.
Okay, excellent. There's a question of what end-to-end legacy can somebody expect?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe Nyan or Curtis knows that. I know that we operate in the US and our latency is pretty low, but if you were to transmit your signal, let's say halfway around the world, there may be some latency there. So Curtis, might you know that answer to that?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on your workflow, right? We have customers that are doing different things like, you know, live betting or something that of that nature that requires a really low latency, and we can handle that. For those that require, you know, more resiliency or aren't worried about latency as much as others, they can, you know, you can dial that up and down depending on your workflow.
And for us, latency is a setting, and it's just you can set it to whatever you want, and it plays with other settings so that you can define it for your workflow specifically. So a settable option.
Yeah, and I think latency is not an important attribute. You know, the important thing for us was to make sure that we were not experiencing any audio drops or packet loss.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question. Seems like monitoring is now cloud-based. Has there been a reduction in CapEx, OpEx spending, or NOC monitoring?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Another one. You know, Music Choice is not a large company. We have, you know, relatively small a group of individuals made up of engineers and operators. We actually have, you know, a 24/7, 365 operation, and Nine has set up, you know, alerts and all sorts of mechanisms within the system. So we did not increase our operational team, and in fact, we actually went through a bit of a reduction. And from a capital perspective, you know, we had a small capital expense for, you know, just some servers to house the Zixi broadcaster, but nothing significant at all.
Okay, good. Do you think Zixi is a good solution for a broadcaster with 2 to 3 feeds and 100 MVPDs?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It really depends upon your business model, what you're trying to achieve, what you know, with your customers. I don't see any reason that comes to mind that I would sway you, you know, not to try the service.
Yeah, and we have many customers with just a low number of feeds and a relatively low number of distribution points. So it's
and I think you have customers that are kind of using your service ad hoc, right? So a live event, right? They'll bring it up and then they'll tear it down again. So
exactly. So here's a question, and I'll take a shot up front at talking about it, and then Mike, you can answer it maybe. What made you choose Zixi versus SRT? And I just want to make it clear, SRT is a protocol. It's not a solution. It's not a platform. So, and we have 17 protocols, including SRT. We think ours is best, and I think Music Choice does too. But if you wanted to do SRT, but you still need to buy a platform. You still need a platform. And if you look at our software-defined video platform, we have 600,000 lines of code. Only 2% of that is the protocol. So there's a lot that goes into making these things work beyond the protocol. But
yeah, I think that's right on point. As I was trying to convey earlier in the session, Zixi provided an end-to-end solution for us. So it wasn't just about SRT. If we went down the SRT route, we probably would have spent more man hours and time kind of putting all the other pieces together, and we wouldn't necessarily have a ZenMaster-like control system that would allow us to get a glance of the system, you know, relatively quickly. So for us, it was more of a full system solution offering as opposed to just the technology set itself.
Cool. And I think last question we have time for, and any questions I didn't answer, we'll get back to you via email. And maybe Curtis, this is a question for you. Can Zixi adapt bit rates to network conditions?
Good question. Yeah, definitely can. So the Zixi protocol will dynamically adjust its bit rate and the underlying proprietary FEC and ARQ that we use within our protocol to do just that. So it'll adjust itself between our software components and use the available bit rate that it needs in order to reliably transport that data.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank Mike and Nayan, excuse me, Nayan, for participating today and helping us out, and appreciate everybody sticking around, and please answer the questions on the poll if you have a chance.
Great,
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks again.